Hello, Dongamet channel, making a gate from scratch, part 6. 7. Part 7. I had more I wanted to talk about in part 6, but I accidentally switched the camera off while I was putting it in the stand. So we're in the stand now, and I'm holding the stand in my hand. And we shall proceed as planned. I'm ginger, by the way, I don't get tanned. But I like to get about as much sun as I can stand. Oh, I already said stand. Okay. Yeah, so here are my splits, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 8 in the end, which is nice. That might actually be enough to complete the gate, because, but probably not, because we'll have we don't need gaps. No gaps. We have dogs. Dogs go through gaps. I think one just did. So, some things happened. Yeah, right. We had failure number 1. We've covered that. In installation number 6. So I got a little stack of things here to look at. You can start with these batons. This was the baton I was using to start out, which is, it has been variously named a war club, a shillelagh, or what have you. It's lilac wood. It had a void in it that I shoved more lilac wood into. I've been filling the thing with epoxy every time I have some leftover epoxy. There is a twine epoxy wrap here. I just slathered. It's got epoxy here as well because I just keep slathering it on, right? Filling all the voids and what have you. So this is this solid piece that goes through the void there. Because lilac, when it gets this big, it's never really solid. Never tends to be solid anymore. It kind of voids out. And then down here, it just kind of tapered out and cracked up. So I joined in this hickory axe handle offcut. And this thing's a real smasher. However, it is pretty hard. And that was an apple falling down off the tree, if you heard that. Yeah, it's pretty hard. So sometimes you only need a tippy-tappy. This I used earlier as a camera stand, so I couldn't deploy it. But this, I can get it into the split once I've opened up the split and keep sliding it down. I can also tap with it. This is a seasoned piece of beech. It's another split pole. And then this offcut I made into a nice, typical bushcrafter mallet type thing, which is probably the best because it's a lot kinder on your knife and on your hand when it's a piece of green wood like this, if you really want to thwack it. Now, if I really, really wanted to thwack it, like I was cracking in, then I would still use this. And I was using the two knives, and I was using them in combination, in fact, kind of like when I was splitting rails with wedges and so forth. I could do the same thing. You put one wedge in, put another one in, and you walk them along. So I was doing that with these two knives. So I think it's fair to say that the two knives received, in the brief period that I was using them together like that, very much the same treatment. which is I would say hard use. We're going to have about 30 seconds more of this. Hey, Jim! Sorry about the dogs. Shush, you dogs. They're very excitable. Yeah, so scales came loose on this one. Interestingly, no, I'm not feeling the play. Oh yeah, here we go. Well, one of them came loose, from what I can feel. I don't know if you can even see it. Tiny little bit of play, but noticeable. And there's no way around it. That's a disappointment. But on the other hand, it's what is the opposite of a disappointment? Because this knife did fine, and I've used this knife for many hours now of this kind of thing, and I have beaten the blazes into it, and it just comes back for more. And this is no liners, 100% lilac, aside from the 5160 and the G-Flex epoxy. Yeah, G-Flex epoxy. Now that is probably a significant feature. Many pins. Maybe that helps. No lanyard tube, however. Yeah? So from here to there, pure epoxy. I did put some fairly significant wells into the tang so that the epoxy could pool inside there, but I've seen Dustin Mello does that with his tang. So as I have stated in a recent video, I can't really do with wobbly handles. You know, that's just, it's an annoyance and a distraction. For batoning this thing, fine, yeah, no problem. But, you know, if I'm going to be doing finishing, I don't know. That could annoy me. I might have to opt for a different finishing knife for my primary. I was thinking to use this one, but anyway, I've got a ton of finishing knives, so I can use them all. I can try this one too. It's still going to work fine. Of course, I have no doubt that Dustin Mello would let me send this back to him, and he would put it back together for me. But I'm wondering whether I should do it myself and use lilac pins. And it's not stupid, huh? There's nothing dumb or afunctional about lilac pins, my friends. As we can see, this has been the proof. So that's the knives. We'll put them back in their little sheaths. That's the retention on that, as you can see. A little retention, but you know, that's a tricky proposition with a knife this shape to make a sheath that's going to have that perfect retention. You would probably need to put a strap on it or something like that. I can't stand those things. I would never make a sheath and put a strap on it like that with a button. This one is excellent. I mean, it just works really well. You know, looks good. Retains, holds your tidy little ferro rod there. This thing was originally on the knife, but I couldn't. It wasn't functional for me on the knife. Just off the handle there, flapping around. But here it's great because you can grab onto it when you pull the knife out. This is the Kanata that I was using last night. This thing has also taken a lot of pounding, and it's a very hard steel. It's Sanmai, right? And you can definitely see the transition there from this, you know, where it's taking a polish better. Yeah, I put the handle on. It's out of oak. Lilac pins. you know, something that's good about this, apart from also when you're batoning, I mean, you saw the footage, right? You can see how the shape of this works, right? You can go in with this and hammer on that, yeah? So you get the wedging, it thins out, and here and here, right? So it's like it's really good. I think it's a good knife. So yeah. Also, if you're doing a rounding off like this, obviously having a hook bill type thing like that. Makes it nice. And the thing about this one that I like is it's not a keen cutter, but it's very, you can just get it so smooth, you know. You can just, so that's why I think this one's going to be good for finishing. Probably even if it does have a wobbly scale. I can't even feel it now, actually. I could feel it when I was whacking on it, right? Holding on it and whacking on it, and you could feel it going, nyeh, 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 nyeh. So I obviously noticed pretty quickly that something was up. I'm making way too big a deal out of it, aren't I? But yeah, that's fun. And mini saws. It's another thing I'd like to touch on right now. It's my current EDC mini saw. Yeah, I said it had a 5-inch blade, but you know, I mean, it was probably shy of 5 inches to start before I snapped the end off. But it still works just fine for what it is. Here is the Bahco Laplander I was using earlier. You know, you can put this in a pocket and walk around with it, but you're not going to sit down comfortably, you know. So it's not like, for me, it's not an EDC saw. And EDC means, you know, I can suddenly find myself in the middle of the woods with whatever I'm carrying in my pockets. And this is so light and comfortable in the pocket, you don't notice it. But we got some more competition here. This one. Now it's also interesting to look at the tooth size. Yeah, and these are all cut on the pull saws. I'm going to demonstrate. So, and I think for an EDC saw, smaller teeth is better. I really think, because often, most of the time I'm cutting stuff that, you know, it could be like a finger thick or whatever. When you have these great big teeth, they hang up and they don't make a clean cut. So, you know, this is so-so. Also, the opening and closing mechanism is a little more fiddly, you know, not a big deal. There's no detent in the closed position. This has but there's a little more friction holding it in there. It rides this way in my pocket, so I haven't noticed it opening up. This actually does have a closed detent. So it's a button lock in both directions. Oh, that's nice too. A little walk and talk. This is kind of a piece of junk, but it has some things I really like about it. It's very lightweight and slim profile and very comfortable in the hand with this wooden handle. The locking mechanism doesn't work, but in theory you have this button locking mechanism, which would be cool if it worked. Yeah, if I push it in there, it works a bit better, but there's play and you can easily override it. The teeth are small, fine, makes a fine cut, and very thin and flexible. So when you get thin stock with fine teeth and very flexible, I'm noticing that that is actually what I like. Now the flexibility always, you know, it has that issue, right? When they're flexible, they're easy to blah, 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 blah. But as my dear friend Jimbus Maximus pointed out in a recent comment, the Japanese steel, the Japanese pull saws are always the best. Oh, I forgot to bring my semi-custom silky saw for the demonstration. Oh, that's not a folder anyway. Would have served for the demonstration. Yeah, so here's the last contender. This Titanium fidget saw. Has some issues. That's very easy to pop open like that. Either direction, so it'll open in your pocket and it'll open while you're using it. You know, it's deceptive now. Yeah, see, because of course when you're using it, there's vibration and stuff traveling. So generally on the first, second, third cut, already it's popped out. Now you can mitigate that by gripping it this way and squeezing in this direction rather than squeezing in that direction. But that is not, sometimes it's good to hold it this way. Sometimes it feels natural, but it's not the most natural. And this is an Olfa blade from Japan that cuts in both directions, but with a bias on the pull. I believe that's how it's kind of ground. And it's a little thicker in the stock. Whoa, I already bent it. See? It's a little thicker in this direction, but very slim. And it's really, whatchamacallit, plasterboard cutting saw. Hence the sharpened tip. And, you know, you'd be able to cut like a circle with it. So for bushcrafting and so forth, it cuts pretty well. You know, it cuts pretty well, but it's not a comfortable carry in the pocket because it's too long. It opens while it's in your pocket. So then I put it in a belt sheath. But belt sheaths, I never have the same belt sheath set up every day. My pockets generally have also never the same thing, but it's kind of formulaic. I always have a hook bill in the left pocket, almost always. Hook bill in the left, and something with a clip on the right, and probably something riding deep as well, one or two things maybe. Deep in the pocket. Now I've got this for the last couple of weeks. Maybe I've had this in the right pocket. So probably this riding with maybe like a mini Swiss Army knife and a folder in the right, and then a hook bill in the left, and then blah, 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 blah. Almost done, but my semi-custom silky saw was made with one of these because I got two of them at a local thrift store for some incredible price. I can't remember what it was. It was like $5 for the pair or something. And you can see, well, yeah, I kept it in the packaging up until now. So now we're going to open it. This is the real deal silky from Japan. It's very thin. It's very straight. The teeth are very fine. They're excellently cut. I mounted one of these into a fixed handle made out of pine and some kind of, I think it was maybe walnut for the pins and stuff. I don't think I used lilac pins, and actually it came wobbly, possibly partially as a result. But, you know, I made a very janky handle for it, but it's very comfortable, works great. And I've been using that saw ever since, which is probably about over a year now. And I used it to cut bone, micarta, G10. I stopped cutting that kind of stuff with it, but it did. And it still cuts. It's a pretty lazy cutter now, but you know, it's the same old thing. Like, let's say you're kicking around, you got to cut this, and you can use this and it'll take you 20 seconds, or you can use this and it'll take you 50. But it's got a more comfortable handle. It's your good old familiar saw, and also it'll leave a cleaner cut at the end of the day. So this, let's look at this